Well, numbers say that there is support from people in England and Wales for legalizing assisted suicide. According to a study released by King's College London, 63% of those surveyed say they favor legalizing euthanasia in the next 5 years. A measure is expected to be introduced this week that would give terminally ill people a choice at the end of their life. Church leaders in the UK are speaking out against the proposal, with Cardinal Vincent Nichols urging the faithful to write to their lawmakers asking them to vote against passing the bill. For now, assisted suicide is illegal in the UK. And for more, we turn now to Matthew Schellhorn, an anti-euthanasia campaigner based in England. Matthew, great to be with you today. We really appreciate it. What's your take on the findings from King's College London? What are you seeing and hearing? And is there growing support for legalizing assisted suicide there?
Well, the polls that are taken, I'm not really sure the basis on which they're representative, because assisted dying, as it's called, was in no way included in the Labour Party's manifesto, and it's just been voted in on a big majority, the party, to form a government. And I suppose one can pull out a poll on any subject and find a majority in favour of anything if you ask the right questions in the right way, as we know. But in terms of parliamentary democracy, as you just said, the bill is being introduced on Wednesday into the House of Commons under a procedure that an individual MP is entitled to follow, which is called a private member's bill, which entitles an individual MP to introduce a bill and have it proceed through Parliament. But it's certainly not been voted on in the United Kingdom, and certainly doesn't have any mandate.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, church leaders are speaking against this proposal. What have they been saying? What have you been hearing?
Well, it's true. So Cardinal Vincent Nichols has spoken out several times on this. He's written pastoral letters asking us to pray and to lobby our MPs. And also he's appeared on the BBC recently with a very eloquent appeal. One of the interesting phrases is, of course, he called it a slippery slope, which so many of these types of issues are, and said to be careful what you wish for. The problem with all of that is that the moral authority of the church in secular society is at an all-time low, and not only that, the arguments are not merely theological. So to the layman, theological arguments are not necessarily the right. Don't really strike the right tone necessarily, and the arguments might be much more powerful just speaking sociologically, because of course it's going to introduce massive changes into the fabric of society.
Absolutely. I know previous attempts to legalize euthanasia failed in the UK, most recently in 2015. What do you think makes this time different, possibly?
Well, it is right. It's one of those issues that keeps coming up every now and again. People will say, well, this debate hasn't been properly had and we need to have it all over again. I think the difference this time, from a parliamentary point of view, is it is being introduced in the House of Commons, whereas before it's been introduced in the Lords. And the Labour Party has a massive majority. And in fact, the Prime Minister himself has said that he has made a personal promise to a well-known television presenter who has a stake in this, because she's, I'm talking about Esther Rantzen here, she's very pro the assisted dying argument. So it would seem to have a big endorsement from the party in power. Of course, in previous years, under the Conservative Party, this hasn't gone anywhere, as I've said, but it just keeps coming back now.
Yeah, almost out of time here, but I want to ask you this question. I know that you're an accomplished concert pianist. What made you jump into this debate on assisted suicide? Why is this important to you?
Well, it was almost accidental, really. 10 years ago, I was nursing my mother at the end of her life, and that had such a profound effect on me. My views about life and death, I don't think will ever really be the same as they were before. I wrote an article. At that point, Lord Faulkner introduced a bill into the House of Lords, um, and just the coincidence of having nursed my mother at the end of her life, and then that one of the several bills that have tried to go through the Parliament happened at the same time. So I wrote an article just sharing my view on how that would have really destroyed the special experiences that we had at the time, and possibly destroyed the relationship of trust with the healthcare system, and also increased everyone's vulnerability, which of course is a very strong argument against assisted dying. That the fact that it puts or would put unbearable pressure on the dying and on the disabled, particularly as they try to gain some meaning from life.
Well, Matthew, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it, and for your voice. God bless you.
Thank you.